Welcome, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting of the Glendora City Council to order at 6 p.m. and welcome everyone who is attending. For the audience here tonight, my name is David Friedendahl, and I am the mayor of Glendora and serve as the presiding officer over city council meetings. In consideration of others and the business to be conducted, kindly silence any electronic devices and refrain from speaking unless recognized. Members of the City Council are present and appear ready to conduct the business. I would like to ask our city attorney to read the closed session title into the record.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. The council will be meeting in closed session tonight to perform a public and employee performance evaluation, which is held pursuant to Government Code Section 54957 with respect to the position of the city attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Attorney. I'd like to open the public comment period and invite members of the public to address this legislative body. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes and speaking once only on the closed item agenda, a closed session agenda item, If you are in attendance, please fill out a speaker card and submit it to the recording admin before the close of the public comment period. Once recognized, speakers should advance to the podium, state your name, and share your subject matter. Are there any speakers in the room wishing to present? Seeing none, I will inquire, have we received any correspondence on this matter?
We have not, Mayor.
We have not. There you go. Okay, then I will announce that the public comment period is closed and recesses into the closed session at 6:02 p.m. Thank you. reconvene the open session at 7:01. And would like to ask for our city attorney to read us out on the closed session agenda item, please.
Yes, Mayor and honorable council members, the council met in closed session tonight to conduct a public employee and performance evaluation, which is authorized pursuant to Government Code Section 54957 with respect to the position of the city attorney. Feedback was provided, and discussion and review was had, but there was no reportable action taken.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Attorney. And welcome to the audience and those at home watching. My name is David Friedendahl. I am the mayor of Glendora and serve as the presiding officer over these council meetings. For the record, all members are present and willing to serve and conduct tonight's business. In consideration of others and the business to be conducted tonight, I would like to ask everybody please sure to silence their phones and electronic devices so you don't scare your neighbor if something goes off on you. And refrain from speaking unless recognized. If you wish to speak during public comment period, you may do so. There are yellow speaker cards that we would ask you to complete. They're either available from the clerk or on the back counter by the main entrance. Kindly complete that card and submit it to the recording admin before the conclusion of public comment. And again, this is a public meeting for the community of Glendora. We appreciate and respect your participation. Tonight, leading our invocation will be Pastor Dr. Michael Kordich of the First Baptist Church, followed by a Pledge of Allegiance led by a youthful member in our audience, and welcome to him, Mr. Robert Johnson. So, Pastor, and if you could please stand for the invocation and Pledge of Allegiance.
Let's pray. Let's pray. Father God, we are thankful that we can be present here today at this time for this city council meeting. We do want to recognize and thank you for the grace you expressed in the peace that has come to Israel and the Palestinians and Hamas. And we thank you for the release of the hostages, that they've been returned to their families, Lord. We want to be mindful of those who care for us and watch over us. We think of the firefighters in our community, in our county, in our state. We think of our police who help to keep our streets safe. And we think of the federal agencies who are doing their job to protect us from those who are committing crimes against society. We ask, Lord, that you would bless them, that you would watch over them, that you would protect them from the dangers they face every day to keep us safe. Lord, as we gather here with particularly these council members, Lord, we ask that you would give them wisdom as they make decisions for our community, and that you would lead and guide them each and every step of the way. We ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you. Robert, please come to the podium.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic with which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Johnston and Pastor Kordich, very much. Appreciate that. Brings us to the opportunity to reorder or add anything to the agenda. Do any of the members wish to reorder or add anything? All right, seeing none, we will continue as it is presented. Brings us to public comment period. I'd like to open the public comment and invite members to speak one time on any item on the agenda or off the agenda. And if your attendance, again, a reminder, please fill out the yellow speaker card and present it to the recording admin. And I will then invite speakers up to speak and invite you to please come to the podium. You will have 3 minutes to speak. I believe there is a timer on the podium to help you keep track of that. And we shall open that up and begin. So with that, I would like to invite Mr. Jack Arton. Welcome, Jack.
Hello, everybody. There we go. Okay. Hi, I'm with the Office of State Senator Sasha Renee Perez. I'm the new district representative for Glendora. I've met each of the council members at events. The city's been wonderful so far. It's very nice to actually be here in the community. I just wanted to sort of come by, introduce myself, give my email out to the constituents in the audience and to the council members. I also did want to say we've had 9 bills signed this year, which is a very good number for a new member of the state Senate. And the bills range from protecting children all the way out to fire relief. So, we've had a very good slate of bills signed. And I do want to thank the first responders and the law enforcement today for their assistance during the flooding we've had and the rain. If you receive the text, you'll know they've been pulling people out of the river. So I think that it's a great time to thank them. If anybody wants to reach out to me in the general public, that's Jack, _ARTAN, as in Nancy, at sen.ca.gov. Great to see everybody here, and thanks for having me.
Thank you, Jack, and we look forward to your communications and service on the senator's behalf. So, thank you very much. Next up, I would like to invite Christina Lopez. Welcome, Christina.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, council members, city staff, and residents. My name is Christina Lopez, Senior Public Affairs Specialist with South Coast Air Quality Management District, also known as South Coast AQMD. South Coast AQMD is the regulatory agency responsible for improving air quality for large areas of Los Angeles, Orange, Riverside, and San Bernardino counties, including the Coachella Valley. The region is home to more than 17 million people, about 44% of the population in California. Through efforts of improving air quality in the region, South Coast AQMD provides funding opportunities to businesses and residents. Today, I'm here to announce several funding opportunities. The first is South Coast AQMD's Invest Clean funding. More than $417 million are available through Invest Clean, which provides funding opportunities for charging infrastructure programs to offset the cost of fast chargers for Class 4 through 8 vehicles. Truck Replacement Program is a scrap and replace program to transition Class 8 diesel goods movement trucks with battery electric alternatives. Examples of Class 8 trucks are heavy haulers, box trucks, dump trucks, and refuse trucks. In addition to another scrap and replace program, there's a battery electric cargo handling equipment program. And this is applicable to fleet owners of cargo handling equipment at warehouses, freight facility centers are also eligible for this program. The second funding opportunity is the Go Zero program. Approximately $21 million is available to help transition to Go Zero pilot incentives. This is a limited first come and first served basis. Residents and small businesses can apply for incentive funding to adopt cleaner, zero-emission space or water heating appliances. As of, I think, yesterday, our multifamily is actually oversubscribed. So if there's still interested developers or multifamily units that are interested, they're very well able to go to our website. We still have funding opportunities for family and small businesses. I provided flyers of the mentioned information and an information packet for additional resources on air quality, and I will be your representative liaison if there's any questions or resources that you'd like for the community or us to be out in the community for educational resources for. I'll be your contact. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Christina.
Thank you.
Mr. Robert Johnson.
My name is Robert Johnson. I've been a resident here all my life. It's been a great honor to be here today. It's where I grew up. I skate. It's been my home, all in Finkbeiner. I love Finkbeiner. And I was going to say that I feel like, sorry, I'm kind of off script here. Unfortunately, in the recent years, the park has suffered from neglect and lack of upkeep. And I'm sure you guys know that. I heard there was something where you guys signed a bill. And so I wanted to see if there was any way that I could convince you guys to get on top of that and maybe rebuild it or fix it up, you know? There's a lot of people who've used this park. There's a lot of cracks. There's a lot of, it's not smooth anymore. The floor is not smooth, and it's because people have used it. It's had a lot of love over the years, and I'd love to see it keep having that love. I see less and less people coming to this park, including kids, because nowadays it's all about electronics. And I feel like our park is very lucky. We have a park where everybody just gets along. You all know each other, so you have that community. But you also have a lot of fun things going on. You got pickleball, you got a park. But the only thing that I think could be worked on is that skate park. It's a beautiful park. It really is. And I think you guys did an awesome job with it. I just would love to see that skate park be fixed up. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert, and I'll take your liberty to address that question. We had a commitment, Robert, at a couple of meetings ago by another voice asking for the same thing, and our Public Works and Recreation Department announced that the park is scheduled to have a refresh before the end of the year. So, good call, and stay tuned, Santa Claus is coming. Okay. Thank you. Next item, Mr. Bill Bertuno. Welcome, Bill.
Mayor and council, as a longtime resident of Glendora, I stand before you in support of Proposition 50 for some specific reasons. Normally, I would be opposed to it if these were normal times. These are not normal times. Let me give you a few quotes of our current president. From 2019, I have Article 2, where I have the right to do whatever I want as president. From 2020, when somebody is president of the United States, the authority is total. From earlier this year, I have the right to do anything that I want. He said that at a cabinet meeting. He doesn't think he's president, he thinks he's Louis XIV. And we have three branches of the federal government, and they're supposed to be co-equal, checks and balances. Congress is not doing its job. To say it's a rubber stamp would be generous. They have allowed the president to deny people due process, arrest them, haul them off into various parts of the country or foreign nations without giving them any of their rights as people in the United States. He has unconstitutionally imposed tariffs when the Constitution says clearly Congress is in charge of tariffs, but the House of Representatives has done nothing. He is having his Attorney General indict people just because he doesn't like them. James Comey, Letitia James. I understand James Bolton might be next. We need a Congress that will hold him accountable for some of his actions and prevent him from doing some of the worst things he is doing. The current Congress will not do that. If he told the current Speaker of the House to jump, the only response would be, "Sir, how high?" So we need a new Congress. And the only way to do that is to counteract what President Trump is doing in Texas and in other states to try to make sure that the Republicans stay in control. He's unpopular nationwide. Polls indicate he's underwater on almost every poll, but he wants to maintain power any way he can, and that is by cheating. That's why Prop 50 is needed. We need to counteract what's being done in Texas and what President Trump wants to do with other red states. It's the only way we can have a Congress that might keep him from doing even worse than he has been doing. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Mr. Michael Barron. Welcome, sir.
Hi, thank you very much, City Council members and Mayor, for giving me this opportunity, this time to make a few comments. You know, Proposition 50 is a California issue. What you have to decide, and I hope you do decide to have the city officially come out against Prop 50. And the reason I say that is because, or at least one of the reasons, is that if Prop 50 passes, Democrat districts in Congress will go from 43 to 48. Do you know how many total districts there are in California? 52. So they, with Proposition 50 passing, will go from 43 to 48 out of 52. Republican districts will be less than 8% of the total if Prop 50 passes. That is not representation when you have at least 35% of the voters in California as registered Republicans. 40% of the people voted for Trump in the last election. So you're basically throwing that. If you say yes to Prop 50, you're basically throwing that issue in the face of 40% of the voters in California. The gentleman that spoke before me did not give me, I did not hear one specific example of how Trump, whose policies have been challenged in court after court after court, Louis XIV did not have a court that would challenge him or stay his actions. So these statements, to me, ring of Trump derangement syndrome. And I don't mean any disrespect. So you have to decide, do you want to reduce Republican representation to 7% of the districts, or will you allow the Citizens Redistricting Committee, their decisions, which were codified or passed by the voters in California? They didn't want politicians drawing the lines, doing gerrymandering. They wanted a citizens commission to make those decisions. And you will be throwing that away if you support Prop 50 till 2031. And that's to try and affect the next election, which I think would be very unfair. So thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Barron. Erica Landman, welcome.
Hi, everybody. I was just curious about a couple things. First, SB 79 and how will it impact Glendora development in particular? Other places as well I'm concerned for, but just for this conversation, how will it impact Glendora development? Would this allow developers to bypass the city and just go straight to Sacramento? So just wondering about that. Regarding Prop 50, thank you so much for getting that as a topic on tonight's agenda. I strongly urge people to vote no for the costly election. And it's a classic situation, in my opinion, of if it's not broke, don't fix it. There's nothing going on. It's just somebody's agenda at this point to lessen representation in the state. So another point is the map that the vote was, the map that appears in the ballot was wrong. And so we all got the postcard in the mail with the corrections. And that was actually a very costly boo-boo of at least $4 million just with that postcard being sent back. And I'm just concerned that if the ballot is not correctly representing what it's all about, redrawing the lines, how could we trust the possible outcome if it was passed? So it just doesn't seem to be properly thought out right from the beginning. So thank you again for bringing it up.
Thank you, Erica. April Verlato. Welcome, April.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. Thank you for the opportunity to come here and speak tonight. My name is April Verlato, former mayor of the city of Arcadia and congressional candidate for CD 28. As you're aware, the new maps would change yet again Glendora's position in the congressional districts. It was just a couple years ago that we had the lines were redrawn for the 2022 election, and here we are again, redrawing lines for congressional districts. This is disruptive to our voters' voices, and I think that this is something that should be the reason why we wait 10 years before we do this and we wait for the census is because we want fair elections that amplify the voters' voice, not diminish it and try to squelch it. And that's what we have with Prop 50. So I'm here in opposition to Prop 50, and I hope that you can preserve Glendora, the little north part of Glendora, in CD 28. Thanks.
Thank you, April. Roxanne Hodge? Hogue, I'm sorry. It's okay, everybody has it. I did a 50-50 guess, and welcome.
It always happens. Hi, I'm Roxanne Hogue. And first, I want to commend you. I thought you guys were like a Banana Republic window, and then I realized October, and that's why you all look so fresh and pink. I'm actually the volunteer chairman of the Los Angeles County Republican Party, and I'm here to speak on Prop 50, and I'm going to surprise you. This has nothing to do with partisan politics. Not that I don't care, but the fact is that what Prop 50 does is it upends the one thing in California government that everybody agreed on. We have an independent Citizens Redistricting Commission, and somehow no one sued, no one argued, people just accepted the districts that they drew, both for the state legislature and for Congress, and went about their days and competed in the marketplace of ideas which we have, which are called elections. By the way, if anyone wants to get rid of the current Congress, we do that every 2 years, and I learned that because I'm a naturalized citizen and I had to take a test. So that is very important to me, and why I think it's important for you as a city council to take a stand is because what I've learned in this volunteer job is that nothing is more important than the elected officials who are closest to us. So city councils, which there are 88 in LA County, mean more to our daily life than any other office. And so Prop 50 is an assault on that. It's an assault on people who had the opportunity to work on the independent redistricting. And again, the census happens every 10 years, and we'll be redistricting in 2030. God, I can't even imagine that that's happening very soon. But so I just implore you to take back the voices of the citizens, because that's what Prop 50 is ultimately trying to take away. It's trying to empower politicians, not the people. So thank you again for your service. It's a tough gig to sit up there. Thank you.
Thank you, Roxanne. I don't have any additional cards. Is there anyone else wishing to speak? Seeing none, I'll ask, do we have any correspondence?
We do not, Mayor.
We do not. Okay, then I shall close public comment period and bring it back to the members for statements. I'll begin with Mr. Thompson.
Mayor, thank you, and thank you for getting us back here. I just have a couple of things. One, I want to say thank you to Shauna and Karen for the lovely clip that they had the other day and posted about us just being good to each other, respectful to each other, friendly with each other, regardless of differences that we all have. Thank you for stepping out and doing that. I hope that that can happen. As Pastor prayed, for the first time in a long time, we think we have at least a little bit of peace in part of the world that has had no peace for a long time, and I hope that that we can have some peace here, and just agree to disagree when we need to, but lean into the positive things that we have, that we enjoy by being a part of this amazing city and the lives that each other has. So thank you for that, and be safe. I think the storm is probably past, but what a wonderful way to start off with maybe an inch or inch and a half. And I just want to say thank you to all of the city staff that has prepped for this storm, has been out there to make sure that everything was safe. And even though it's been very wet and very cold, thank you. And that's all.
Thank you, sir. Shauna?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Mendel, for acknowledging that. I did want to thank Karen for putting that video together with me. It has been incredibly well received, which is, it's heartwarming. The amount of people who have not only engaged with the social media post, but who have reached out to me privately in support of the message, which is really just, we need to disagree better. We are all different and we don't have to agree on everything, but we just need to have a better dialogue, especially with people who disagree with us. So I think it's the way, it's what people want, and I am committed to continuing that message, and I hope the rest of my colleagues are as well. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Davis?
Thank you, sir, and thank you to Mendel and Shauna for those comments. Sunday, there was a Glendora Together forum, and the topic was immigration. We had 7 students that did an incredible job, and then 2 parents that were either first or second generation immigrants who shared their why, their how, and that was very helpful to put a real life human aspect to that policy discussion that's going on. It's easy to put it in the abstract, but those students especially were very courageous, willing to be vulnerable and share their story. And so I commend them for that. The event was taped and it will be shared on social media. So I would encourage those who did not attend to listen to those stories, listen to those experiences. Unfortunately, amid their stories, they had shared experiences they had at Glendora High School and elsewhere in the community where they have not been well received because of their color of their skin or their nation of origin. And so I would encourage us to do better and to get to know people before you make assumptions about them. So just thank them again for being part of that. And then for an opportunity for folks to come together and celebrate the community. Hopefully the ground will dry out a little bit. But the Pumpkin Festival is this Saturday, 11 to 3 at Heritage Park. At 10 o'clock, there will be a debut of a short video on Orton Engelhart, the man who invented the Rainbird sprinkler. If you go to the new train station, on one of the columns, actually on more than one column, in the mosaic tile, there's a picture that looks like this. And some people have thought, hey, it's somebody going, touchdown. No, that's the Rainbird sprinkler that is pictured in that tile. So in case you wondered what it was, that's what it is, because Orton Engelhart in his little shed created that. So Saturday, you can learn all about that. There will be a ribbon cutting at 10, and then the actual Pumpkin Festival at 11. So lots of games, entertainment, and fun stuff out there, so we invite people to come and check that out.
Thank you, Karen. Michael?
Thank you, David. To the best of your ability, since the ink still is dry on SB 79, can you... We've been learning an awful lot about that and about all the other laws that they put in place, which is really challenging. We're learning all these new vernaculars, new words, and how they really fit in and how it's going to affect our community. Can
So I think
Ulysses?
it's a little too early to determine the exact impacts of what SB 79, and I think there were 796 bills signed into legislation over the past 10 days. So I will say with SB 79 that it does introduce additional height allowances and units in and around both a quarter and half mile of transit. The city of Glendora will be a tier 2 transit hub, which has different set of criteria than a tier 1 transit hub. And since our population is over 35,000, there are not some exceptions. The good news is that some of the bill will not go into effect until January, where other provisions will not go into effect until 7/1 of 26. There are the options the city will have to explore to create our own zoning. The law, based on first blemish, does require us to adhere to the spirit of SB 79, but not necessarily all the specifics. It may allow the city to take additional control. As this group knows, we're going through our objective design standards, and so maybe while this bill does have an attempt to try to forego the city's ability to have that, maybe doing an overlay area will allow us to enforce some of those from a look and feel perspective. So a bunch of work will be done between now and then. I think one of the more nuanced provisions and something we'll need to explore is a lot of the projects under SB 79 are ministerial approval, meaning they wouldn't come before the planning commission or city council so long as they met the intent of the law. So still a lot more work necessary on our end. The bill introduces new terms and definitions that run a little bit different to existing law. So like I said, we're going to be sorting through 800 bills that have been signed, potentially more than 12 to 1,400 in total over these next few weeks. So we'll do our very best, and as soon as we know more, we'll be back before this body and planning commission and providing that information to the extent possible.
And how many pages are on the new housing law bill up there?
Oh,
Ordinance?
hundreds, yeah.
Like when you say like something like 900 pages?
It wouldn't surprise me if there was 1,000 pages in new law, yeah.
Crazy, crazy. Ms. Lopez, about the AQMD, is there matching funds for that for the city, or is it a pure grant? And when does the grant expire? If you can come up with this, okay with you, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, yes.
Mayor Pro Tem, you're inquiring about the Invest Clean funding opportunity. So that would not be a matching, it would be an application process, but that application period, I believe, closes November 14th.
What's the maximum you can get, a city can get for that?
There's no set maximum. I think it just depends on the application project of what those funds would be and how many applications we receive. So it really depends on what the interest is. So it could be a significant amount depending on the need for the city.
And I believe I heard you, was it $21 million is in the fund?
That's for the Go Zero funding program to transition the space heaters.
Okay. And
Yes.
how much is in the fund for the EV?
That's a $417 million.
Okay,
And it's broken up into four different categories.
wonderful. Thank you very much.
You're
Appreciate that. This Saturday at, I think it's 11 or 12 o'clock, the Kiwanians are putting their designer bingo bag event. The Knights of Columbus are hosting all the crazy and wild women out there. Thankfully, I will just bring the bags around. I will not do the bingo because they get quite challenging if the wrong number is called out. It's a lot of fun. It's a long day. They have a lot of fun. They raise a lot of money for some great causes. So that's all I have.
So I understand you'll be imitating like Vanna White?
I'll be Vanna White, not with the dress, though.
All right, thank you, Mr. Alaros. We heard about the Pumpkin Festival coming up this weekend. Thank you, Karen, for that. And certainly the ribbon cutting for the Rainbird Impact Sprinkler projects. Also coming up toward the end of the month, keep in mind there's carnivals and Halloween and trick-or-treating and movies in the park for Halloween and all kinds of things. So to the community, put us on your calendar, get outside and come see it. It'll be remarkable. This coming Friday, our Glendora High School is having their homecoming event this weekend and homecoming football game Friday. Parade, the longest parade in town, all 2 blocks at 4 o'clock. It's a great hoot. So if you're not doing anything, or if you are, cancel it and come to the parade. All right, with that, thank you very much, and I'll bring it back to Adam or Danny. Any comments? No? Okay. Tough act to follow, I understand. Great. Now we have an exciting special item. We get to have a proclamation presenting to the National Friends of the Library Week, and making this presentation will be Councilmember Davis.
And Mr. Mayor, before I begin this presentation, you reminded me of another thing I meant to mention. A shout out to Charter Oak High School. Sadly for Glendora, they did soundly defeat Glendora in the Mayor's Cup football game. And I believe that Charter Oak is now ranked number 2 in CIF. So shout out to them and congratulations on winning the Mayor's Cup. And we know that when they're not playing football, they are at the library, thanks to the Friends of the library. So, whereas Glendora Public Library Friends Foundation raises money that enables our library to move from good to great, providing the resources for additional programming, much-needed equipment, support for the Summer Discovery Challenge, and special events throughout the year. Whereas the work of the Friends Foundation highlights on an ongoing basis the fact that our library is the cornerstone of the community, providing opportunities for all to engage in the joy of lifelong learning and connect with the thoughts and ideas of others from ages past to the present. Whereas the Friends Foundation understands the critical importance of well-funded libraries and advocates to ensure that our library gets the resources it needs to provide a wide variety of services to all ages. Whereas the Friends Foundation gift of their time and commitment to the library sets an example for all in how volunteerism leads to positive civic engagement and the betterment of our community. Now, therefore, we, the City Council of the City of Glendora, do hereby proclaim the week of October 19th through the 25th, 2025, as Friends of the Library Week in Glendora, and urge everyone to join us in thanking the Glendora Public Library Friends Foundation for all that they do to make our library and community so much better. And witness whereof the mayor has set his hand and caused the seal of the City of Glendora to be affixed this 14th day of October, 2025. So I invite you to come. Thank you, Maggie Mara. The amazing leader of the Friends Foundation. All right, and say a few words. Yes. Thank you.
Karen's correct. It's the Friends Foundation is a great example of when good people come together to do good. What began as a group of friends who had book sales and used that money to include books and Yes Friends books on cassette, which started in 1964, has evolved into the Friends Foundation, which this year has made a commitment of over $108,000 to support library programs and services. Our motto is 1,000 Stories, One Foundation, and I think one of the things that we hold strong along with the library is the gift of stories. And so the library is the starting point for people to come and discover and explore and learn new things. And so we believe that we support the library in every citizen in discovering what their story is going to be. And so we're honored to be a part of this community, and we look forward to the things that we'll do together with the library this year. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Maggie. And like to acknowledge that there are members of the foundation as well as the Library Board of Trustees and library staff with us. So it's a wonderful opportunity. Thank you for joining us. Okay. All right, we have one more item as a special item, but we'll move on and do the consent calendar and then come back and pick that up, if we may. So moving to the consent calendar, items 4 through 7 on the agenda. Items on the consent calendar will be enacted by one motion without individual discussion unless a council member wishes to have an item pulled for separate discussion.
I'll move items 4 through 7.
Okay. Nobody wants to pull. We have a motion by Mr. Alawas. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Thompson. Invite us to all vote, please, on these items. Items 4 through 7 pass unanimously. Thank you. And with that, we'll pause just a moment and see if the next item is ready.
Mr. Mayor, I'd just
If
like
you're-
to indicate that the Dodgers are up 5-1 in the 8th inning while we're having this pregnant pause. And let's give a shout out to although the pastor must have another team that he
What was it?
he wants.
Wasn't Milwaukee the best team in Major League Baseball all season long?
That's Milwaukee. Yeah, so anyway, but we respect your affiliation with the Brewers. So.
No, I don't care about the Brewers.
Oh, okay. Well, he's just anti-Dodgers. Well, I'm an Angel fan, so you can suffer with me.
love you.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
There's
All right.
not many people that do. But it's equal to being a Cubs fan, just about.
Okay. Chief, are you ready, or do you need a moment? Good, okay. I would like to introduce Police Chief Mike Randazzo. He has a special item to inform us about, and he might explain why we're all dressed so well tonight.
Thank you. I apologize for everything that's going on. We have a lot of people at the police department doing a lot of different things, and I was not planning on being up here for Pink Patch Month and our cancer support, but we just had a vehicle pursuit, in case you heard all the sirens. So several people that were going to be here tonight are not here tonight, and they are taking care of the city, and all is well. But for October, this is the 10th year that the Glendora Police Department and the City of Glendora have been participating in our Pink Patch program. You can see our 2025 Pink Patch that's on my shoulders. A lot of other people in the department go a lot more pink than I do. I'd like to thank all of you for wearing pink tonight. But it's a fundraiser for us, and all of the proceeds for this fundraiser goes to cancer research, and the purpose of it is for cancer awareness. So our 10th year, we have two different patches. We have the patch that I'm wearing this year. Well, actually, three different patches, I should explain. You will see some of our officers that are wearing a patch that's very similar to the one I'm wearing, but doesn't have silver on it for the 10th year. Those are our forever patches. And some of our officers wear those and have worn those for the last 10 years. We also do a year-specific patch, which is what I'm wearing now. And then we also have a special patch this year, which is a patch with our facility dog Sugar on it. And all those patches are for sale. All those proceeds go to cancer research. And we have had one event at Handles, a fundraiser event at Handles last week. We also have our Pink Patch Dinner fundraiser, which will take place this Thursday, October 16th at Lucabella from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. We are not doing pre-sale, so you can actually just show up at Lucabella and have a nice meal, and the proceeds of that will go to cancer research. And then on Monday, October 20th, we will be having Sugar with Your Coffee, where we'll have Sugar there with her 2025 pink patches, and it will all be in the name of cancer awareness and donating money to cancer research, but also just along with Luca Bella and Handles and this event, it's just a great time for us to interact with the community and form those bonds.
And sugar will be at Classic Coffee?
I didn't say that, did I? Yes. Sugar with your coffee is at Classic Coffee, and it is on Monday, October 20th from noon to 4 p.m. And as I go through the email that they just sent me to have all my talking points, I think that's it. We have several police department staff that are really involved in putting this together, and they do it out of their own time. And unfortunately, they all got pulled to different areas of the city tonight. Our school resource officer, Crystal Goins, was supposed to be here tonight to present to you, but she got busy with all the business of the day. But if you see her at one of our schools, she has absolutely pink everywhere, and it's really, her uniform looks really cool. So thank you all for all the pink, and if there's any questions or anything I missed, feel free to prompt me, but I think I covered it all.
You did good. Thank you, Chief, and please extend our support and generous thanks to the entire department.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Mayor and Council.
We'll see him during the week at the events.
All right.
Okay. Coming back to a member agenda item. Item 8, Proposition 50, authorizes temporary changes to congressional district maps in response to Texas's partisan redistricting legislative constitutional amendment. And it was brought together by Mr. Alawas and myself, asking for some clarification and information. So with that, would like to invite Assistant City Manager Moises Lopez to give us a report. Welcome, Mr. Lopez.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. No presentation. I'm just going to provide a verbal update. So as you mentioned, Proposition 50 is titled the Election Rigging Response Act. It's actually technically a constitutional amendment that was placed on the ballot by the California legislature as Assembly Constitutional Amendment number 8 and will appear at the upcoming November 4th statewide special election. The measure authorizes temporary changes to California's congressional district maps in response to mid-decade redistricting efforts in other states. Proposition 50 would allow the California legislature to adopt new congressional district maps for the 2026, 2028, and 2030 elections. These maps would replace those drawn by the California Citizens Redistricting Commission. The commission's authority to draw congressional maps would be suspended until 2031, but would resume after the 2030 census. It also makes a national policy statement urging Congress to adopt independent, nonpartisan redistricting commissions nationwide through a constitutional amendment that would mandate such commissions. As you know, Glendora is currently split between two congressional districts, the 28th Congressional District, currently represented by Judy Chu, and the 31st Congressional District represented by Gil Cisneros. If Proposition 50 were to pass, Glendora would be consolidated entirely into the 31st Congressional District, simplifying its congressional representation. Taking all of this into consideration, the recommendation from staff to the council this evening is that you receive this report on Proposition 50 and provide direction to staff as necessary. That concludes my update, sir.
Thank you, sir. With that, I'll bring it back for any discussion or questions from the board. I'll go out of my normal order, but because Mr. Alawas was one of the proponents of this item, I'll ask him to be first.
Thank you, David. First off, I'd like to thank staff for a report that's right down the middle and non-biased, and I appreciate that very much because it's a sensitive issue. The mayor and I put this on the agenda because we believe that it's a hot topic of today, and we just didn't want to necessarily stand off to the sides. We want to be able to discuss this. Although as mentioned, the California Citizens Redistricting Commission isn't the best out there because some of these districts are kind of crazy. It disenfranchises the competition, if you will. In 2010, the commission was passed by 61 to 39% margin, and then subsequent to that was tried to be recalled and undone, and that failed. The current Glendora registration is 34% Democrat, 37% Republican, and 28% no party preference. The current system does not proportionally represent, which allocates representation by the parties based on the percentage of registered voters. As of January 2025, 43 of the 52 congressional seats are held by Democrats, and the remaining 9 seats are held by Republicans, which is an 82.7% to 17.3% differential, with no independents or no party preference seats available. So it's quite off-balanced. Proposed new congressional maps are politically drawn, and which is against the 2010 legislation that was passed, which is a constitutional amendment for the state of California. Gerrymandering is never okay, no matter who does it or what state. If Proposition 50 passes with it will have no citizen oversight at all. And it was done in back rooms, which was not supposed to be done, and that's what they tried to get away from. And this whole process is going to cost close to $300 million of taxpayer money. It's with the words to suspend democracy to save it. We need to concentrate on the issues that we have here in California and not necessarily nationwide. We need to have representation that it represents the voters and the registration, no matter which party you're at. As a side note, in 2030, after the census, California is slated to lose 4 to 5 congressional seats based on population leaving the state, the net migration loss. We govern better when we have a balanced legislature, balanced groups, because we all don't all agree. We get better legislation out of that because we have good discussion. We're not all in the same bubble together. And I think that's really important for us moving forward, that we do have that ability to have good, honest debate, as which was discussed earlier, because, again, you get much better legislation. You see viewpoints that you don't normally see, and you don't want to disenfranchise any group. As I mentioned, it's almost a three-way split. It'd be nice to have, three-way legislation, if you will, or legislators that can opine, give information, and if you feel comfortable talking or working with some of these groups or some of these legislators or members of Congress, you can do so, as opposed to not and having to deal with a legislator that has to deal with party lines. And that's never really good. So I would be in support of taking a position of opposition to Proposition 50. Thank you, David.
Thank you. Karen?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think it's always helpful to provide people information, but in the spirit of the video that my colleague, Councilmember Elias, and I put together was to not do things that are divisive. So I think for the council to take a stance either way on this, which is already on the ballot for the voters to vote on, is bringing a little bit of that divisiveness. So I think the information's great, but I don't think that we need to take a stance on this. I would hope that the voters, hearing the information they've heard tonight from speakers, from staff, that they could take that information in, and when they go to the ballot box, make that decision for themselves. In the time that I've been on the council, I've served with David Dreyer, I've served with Judy Chu, and I think that it's always our place to work with whoever our representative is, and that I think it is not of benefit to us at this time to continue to try to make decisions based on party lines, because that's not what the 5 of us are called to do. So that's my thought. I appreciate the information, but I don't think this is something that we as the city of Glendora, need to take a vote on. Let the voters do that at the ballot.
Thank you, Karen. Mendel?
Mr. Mayor, thank you. And I want to reflect a lot of what Karen just said. Personally, I'm going to vote no. It has nothing to do with Newsom and Trump. I'll just call it out. I think it's absurd for we as a state to spend, as Michael said, close to $300 million on one thing when homelessness needs to be looked at, streets need to be looked at. I think we can all think of things that $300 million could go for, especially when our state is saying that it has a deficit of $24 billion. This is just not wise stewardship. And I've been on council now for a decade, and I think it's a slippery slope for us to get involved with proposition whatever when we need to let people choose. And the one good thing about this is at least if this should pass, the city would not be split in two. We would have Gil as our elected representative. And I think it's better to work with one rep instead of two, although I know that Grace was wonderful to work with. Mrs. Chu was wonderful to work with. But I just think we're dipping our toe into something that we need to be careful about. Again, I'm not going to support what is in this prop, but it's not because of the egos that these two men have. So with that, I think I should say I'm done.
Thank you, Mendel. Shauna?
Thank you. Well said, Mendel. I'm a little unclear. So for me, I don't support the proposition. I'm going to vote. I think people need to vote. What is it exactly if the city takes a position? What will that do? Can somebody explain that to me? If we're going to. That's what I'm unclear on. The proposition, I don't like it. I'm not voting for it. Other people should make up their own minds about it. But what is the city taking a position do or don't do? What's the benefit?
Well, I think that's an open question for the council, whether or not the council chooses to support the measure publicly or to oppose the measure publicly. I think it's that simple.
If I may,
maybe,
help answer the question. So the reason why we brought this to the council for is because we have a legislative platform that if another organization that we belong to supports something or doesn't, or it fits within the categories that we oppose or we support, it's automatic. But since this doesn't fit any of the categories, it has to come to us to make that decision. And typically what happens is if there's legislation where it's a proposition or a bill that's up there, we write letters in either support or opposition to it. And that hopefully influences the legislature. But in this situation, we would think that this would influence the voter of how we see this in our preview here. So this is why it's up to us for here to either say yes or no or take no action, is because this is not on our legislative platform, so it had to come to this body to make that recommendation or not to make that recommendation to the public.
Okay.
Did that help? No?
Yeah, I'm torn on that piece of it, on us putting our thumb on the scale.
We do it all the time.
Yeah, but this is up, we're voting on this.
We do it when we are trying to persuade the legislators before they pass a bill. This is something where we're telling the citizens how they should vote. And to me, that's their business, not ours.
That's kind of what I'm I'm having a little bit of a problem with, because we aren't telling the legislators, we are telling residents. I don't know. I'm kind of
Good.
torn on that. Again, let me say, I don't like the proposition, and I will, got a sign, I've voted, I've done all the things. But this, I don't know.
There are a number of organizations and a number of cities that already have taken positions on this across
have
the whole California.
Do you know
Number
what
of
my name?
sheriffs have, I believe, the Chino Hills, I think, was one of them that took it. There's a whole list of the, I don't know if someone could, is it possible, can we bring one of the gals up, of the list?
Well,
No?
and I guess, again, to me, I don't put weight in what some other city does. I put weight in what we think is best for us in the city of Glendora and sets a precedent. I don't want to do something just because somebody else did it.
No. But I think that we should discuss this, as we have, and take a position as a recommendation. People still have their own mind. They can do whatever they choose to do.
I just have to think about that, I guess. I'm torn.
Tell you what, I'll jump in for a second.
That'd be great.
I look at it as just continuing the frustration with what happens north of us by the legislative body. I don't think this is a partisan body here. And I don't know that taking an action at the point where it's on a ballot in a minute down the road is going to change anything. The voters are going to make their choice. If it was something that was encouraging a vote to a legislator that's going to impact our local control or things like that, we have a very specific position that we typically try to work with those agencies that we are members of. But in this kind of a ballot issue, I'm not prepared as a city to take an action or to encourage something. Am I in favor of the proposition? Not particularly, because the people, again, are losing control. And that's frustrating. But I don't think it's something we should take an action on.
I agree. I don't want that to be seen as like I support it, because I don't. And I've been out there and I've been vocal that I don't support it, but I just don't know. I don't want to do something like this just for the sake of putting our thumb on the scale. I'd rather do the work and, be out and talking to people and explaining pros and cons. I don't know. I think I'm not comfortable with it.
Okay.
So would it be fair to say if I made a motion, I won't get a second?
Kind of leaning that way.
I make a motion to support opposition of Prop 50.
Okay, not seeing a second, I don't think we have an action
Hey, you
item.
asked me to do it, you dared me.
That's all right. No problem. Okay. Do I see a hint of comment over here? No, okay.
Nope.
Just trying to read the audience. It's fine. Okay, then I believe we need a motion to receive the report. Can I entertain one of those?
So moved.
Second?
Okay. Motion to receive the report as presented by Mr. Lopez. Thank you very much. Please vote. Looks like unanimous pass, 5-0. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Lopez. Moving on to unfinished business. The approval of amendment number 1 to the contract services agreement between UMS Inc., a California corporation doing business as United Maintenance Systems, and the City of Glendora for janitorial and park litter services in the amount not to exceed $446,625 for the period of the extension. and welcoming for presentation our Public Works Director, Mr. Bill Whitkoff. Welcome, sir.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Thank you very much. I know this is the item you've all been anxiously awaiting for tonight, so I'm glad I can be here. A little bit of background on our janitorial services. Our services are provided by a contractor, which is United Maintenance Systems. They have been providing service to the city since 2008. The current agreement was entered into in 2021. So it was an initial 4-year period with an additional 3 one-year renewals. Our proposed amendment tonight is to extend that service 1 additional year. A little bit of background on the scope of services. You can see that they service the police department 7 days a week, 6 days at the library, transportation, teen and family center, 5 days here at City Hall, the FETRA, Legion, Library House, Liberty House, several other places. Also the parks, the restroom maintenance is 7 days a week, and litter services for the 24 parks is 7 days a week. And we also provide a porter service for the village. So the cost for this, you can see, is $406,000 for the total contract with a contingency amount of $40,605. We do run into situations where somebody may have spilled something in the carpet or done something that's caused some extra cleaning that we need to get done, or we have a special event, so we always ask for a little bit extra in contingency. So the total for this year would be $446,625. So the 5-year total amount would be $2,060,913. I would like to point out that UMS did not ask for an increase this year for the renewal, so they are going to hold the prices again static for us for 1 more year. So with that, our recommendation would be that you approve amendment number 1 to the agreement and authorize the city manager to execute that agreement. And I would happy to answer any questions that you might have regarding our janitorial services.
Okay.
The amendment.
Thank you, Bill. I'll bring it back for questions and comments. Ms. Elias.
Thank you, Bill. Great report, and I have no questions.
Okay. Karen?
No questions, thanks.
Mr. Thompson?
No, but I would like to applaud the porter that works downtown. I think they do a great job. He does a great job. And I just appreciate the fact that we have the ability to keep the city and facilities clean and up to speed. I think the restrooms and parks being cleaned every day, that's really an important thing. It's an asset to the quality of life. So thank you for doing this. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Michael?
No questions. Thank you very much.
Okay. I'll ask a couple if I may.
Sure.
Yeah, I support this, but I would question, and maybe some of those contingent funds, not picking on the quality of their work at all, but given a little more time or a little more expense, could they do some things a little more frequent, perhaps, in some of the public-facing areas? I know it's hard in the parks or up in the canyon. That's a tough nut to deal with, and I know not all the users are good characters, but possibly we can use some of that contingency and increase some of that, expand some of that service to polish that apple just a little better.
Absolutely, we can look at that. We've also been talking internally with our staff and facilities about having more regular meetings with our contract manager and starting to provide regular inspections of our facilities so we can provide a little bit more feedback to them as well. So we are working on that to make sure that what we're paying for is actually being done and we're getting the services that are out there. But yeah, we do have the flexibility with the contingency amount to make some adjustments if we need to.
And hopefully if they are the first-hand eyes, identify a need or a challenge or a problem that needs to be done, hopefully they're telling us that.
Yes.
So we can address it.
Yes.
So they tell us, we tell ourselves instead of the public.
Yeah.
When to complain.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, great. Okay. Adam, were you going to add something, or he covered it?
That was exactly right. As we go along and try to measure the hours and necessary need as we move forward, we can make several of those. But I think those observations are spot on.
Yeah, great. Okay. Thank you. With no other discussion, I'll entertain a motion to accept the recommendations.
I'll move items 1 and 2.
Okay, motion by Mr. Alawas. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mendel. Please vote. right.
Easy
Item
money.
passes
Thank you.
5-0. Thank you very much. Okay. Next item, Measure A and Local Solutions Fund, or otherwise known as LSF agreement, and invite Human Resources Manager Debbie Lopez. Welcome to bring us up to speed. Welcome, Debbie.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. I'm here to speak about Measure A. Measure A was passed, did I turn the page? Okay. Measure A was passed November 2024 and repealed Measure H. Measure A is a half-cent sales tax to address homelessness and does not have a sunset date. The funds will be distributed to cities through the county or San Gabriel Valley Council of Governments based on the point-in-time count. Glendora's allocation is $180,536. The MOU with the San Gabriel Valley Council of Governments must meet 5 approved goals that are specific Measure H goals and metrics. 1 is reduce unsheltered homelessness, move people from encampments to housing. 2, address mental illness and substance use among the homeless population. 3, increase permanent exits from homelessness. 4, prevent homelessness through early intervention. 5, expand affordable housing countywide. This is the budget that was submitted and approved by the county. The city currently provides homelessness prevention assistance to households at risk of losing their housing through case management, referrals, and resources available through Human Services staff. Supplemental funding for rental assistance, relocation assistance, and eligible client support services will now be funded by Measure A. This will help continue street outreach, case management, motel vouchers, and rental assistance. It will expand to landlord incentives, short-term rental subsidies, and problem-solving interventions. The recommendation is to approve the MOU with the San Gabriel Valley Council of Governments for distribution and use of Measure A Local Solutions Fund and approve estimated revenues and appropriate $180,536 for the 2025-2026 fiscal year budget as a subrecipient. So, questions?
Thank you, Debbie. And I'll bring it back for questions or comments. Karen?
No questions. Thank you for the work that you and your team are always doing. I know that you've tried to take every penny and stretch it as far as you can. So thank you for the outreach and support that you provide.
Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Mendel?
I have so much to say,
I know you do.
but when I get home, my wife will just ring me up and say, "Why did you say all that?"
She's a good woman.
So I'm debating whether the lashing there or lashing here will be worse.
Roxanne, start the timer,
Yeah.
please.
I can
Let me
text-
just say a couple things. First of all, Debbie, you and your team do a tremendous job with pennies. Literally pennies. As I said a couple weeks ago, the county is screwing us big time. And this is a embarrassment for the money that's out there. And then we just talked about $300 million being spent. Boy, I wonder what, every city could do with a piece of that. Anyway, I just want to applaud what the city, what your team is doing, how we are responding in a thoughtful, caring way to help restore folks that have made bad choices, have had bad luck, whatever their story is, because we all have a story. And I just want to applaud you for everything that you guys are doing. But what a shame that the county board of supervisors are when it comes to their new math or old math or shakedown math or whatever you want to call it. It's just really bad. It's really sad. But I support this, and thank you for the good work.
Thank you.
And I'll be quiet now.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mendel. Go easy, Mrs. Thompson. Shauna?
Thank you, Debbie, and thank you to your team. You guys truly do the Lord's work. I mean, you, without question as to why people are in the situation that they're in, you're out there on the ground helping people who desperately need it, which in turn helps our city, and I'm so appreciative. I agree with your sigh. I just want to... 180,000. Adam, can you do me a favor and just remind everybody how much Glendora contributed to this?
About 6 million.
6 million, and we're getting 180,000 back. And you'll do great work with it, I'm sure, but that's so disappointing. So anyways, thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Shauna. Michael?
I echo my colleagues of everything they said. I know we deal with a lot of this at the COG and the executive level, and having to deal through this, and it's just, it's a crime of what we're not getting, actually. And all the stress that it's put everyone through trying to figure this out and trying to figure out which direction to go. On item goal 4, it says problem solving. And some of the issues that we have, or landlords and tenants have, is disputes of either not paying rent or excuses or whatever. Can we even get involved with all that to keep someone from being homeless, if you will, to resolve some of these issues? So I know there was another item on there for keeping people from being homeless.
Well, problem solving in this case is, it's kind of creative. It's we talk to the person who's about to become homeless and find out if there's ways, if they have a family member they can borrow from, if they have an alternate place to go. We try and get them to kind of solve their own problem by walking them through some of this, because some of the stress and pressure put on people that are about to lose their housing, they don't think straight. It's not their fault. It's just they're in a situation and they're very stressed out. So sometimes we just go through some of the, like kind of like down the list, like, can you talk to so-and-so or so-and-so? And we do talk to landlords and tenants, but we do not get involved in actual disputes. But we can talk to landlords to say, well, if this person qualifies for this, we'll be able to subsidize with this amount of money, things like that. But we don't really get into disputes. That's more lawyers, and we're not lawyers.
So can the landlord reach out to your group, or even the renter reach out to your group and try to work through that issue? Not the dispute, but funding.
The person really should reach out to us, because that's the person we need to get the information from to help. Yeah.
Okay. And this is based on a reimbursement?
Yes, so the city will allocate the funds first for us, and we'll spend city funds, and then we'll go through a very lengthy and painful process of getting it back from the county.
Everything seems to be painful with the county or the state. But again, I've said it many times, you and your staff do an amazing job, and I don't know how you do it. I just don't know how you do it, the patience of a saint. So thank you.
You don't see me at the end of the day sometimes. Thank you.
Well, and we have the contract through the CDBG money with the Housing Rights Center that also is another resource that people can often go to them when there's conflicts of that nature.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Michael, and thank you, Debbie, and certainly your team is echoing what's been said. And thank you to the San Gabriel Valley Council of Governments for their support of helping to manage this. And we would all agree that the county is just ripping us off terribly. So I've told every supervisor personally, so don't think I'm not saying something they haven't seen face to face. I'm cheap. I'll take 50% of that $6 million. Thank you very much. And we'll leave the county alone. Yeah, it's not a good thing. But thank you for this agreement, and it's sad that we have to go beg for our due money at the end of the day, even the paltry 4%. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to accept and approve the memorandum.
I would move that.
I'll second.
All right, kindly vote. Looks like.
Thank you.
Good job, 5-0. Thank you very much. My motion passes. All right, new business item. A consideration of a contract services agreement with PMAM Corporation for the management of a false alarm program. And bringing us this wonderful information is Business Services Manager Julie Linger. Welcome, Julie.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and council members. I'm going to talk tonight about the management of our false alarm program. A little background. I'm actually going to back up a little bit before this slide that starts with January 2020. Before January 2020, our alarm program consisted of residents coming into the police station lobby and buying a one-time permit for their system. It could last for 50 years. It could last for 60 years. They never had to renew it again. So it was just a one and done. Going to January 2020, council amended our municipal code regarding alarm systems, and it created a whole program basically for alarm systems. So instead of that one and done permit that residents could get, it required them to purchase a permit every year, required businesses to purchase a permit every year, basically to update residents' information, business information, so we have that if we have to respond to an alarm. With it also, residents and businesses would be charged for false alarms that required police response. So if we got to an alarm call, said broken glass, and there's no broken glass, the resident's going to get charged for that false alarm now. So whole new program. We didn't have anything like this prior to 2020. So during that time, council wanted the PD to go, or the police department to submit a request for proposals to run the program since we actually created an alarm program. And then in October of 2020, they entered into an agreement with PMAM to manage that new false alarm program. So the contract went for 3 years, and it has been extended the additional 2 one-year terms, and it's due to expire at the end of this month. So in June, we put out a new request for proposal to look at getting a new contract. We had five vendors respond, and PMAM was one of them. Our request for proposal, what we were looking for from the vendor is just a turnkey system. We want them to be able to issue and track alarm permits. We want them to be able to track false alarms. We want them to bill. We want them to collect our revenue. Basically, we want them to run the whole thing and send us a check at the end of the month for a revenue share. So out of the 5 companies, 4 of them actually met the requirements. The 5th one didn't. It wasn't even a revenue share. They just wanted to charge us an annual fee. So out of the 4, PMA offered the most. They have a proprietary software that they use to track all the alarms, all the permittings, all the late fees, all the false alarms. They offer customer service assistance through a toll-free number and email. They issue and track the alarms, they do the billing, they have different payment options. They also collect the fees, including delinquent accounts. So they will continue to send the bills. They don't use a collection agency. They do all the collections themselves. They also include all the associated billing for the entire program. Some of the other vendors who submitted proposals wanted us to pay for certified mail and postage and things like that. This one is covering everything, and they're offering it for an 83-17% split. Another unique thing about this company is they possess a criminal justice information services certificate, which is what we require at the police department for our systems. It's basically ensures a confidentiality. And this is the only company that offers this too, so it will keep all the customers' information confidential. The other bonus is it's compatible with our current records management system, and we're currently using it. So there would be no downtime. Current performance or their past performance since we've started using them. You can see here we have an increase in register permits the first year, 2022. We had 1,000, sorry, I'm reading that wrong. We had 748 permits registered, and we're up to almost 1,200 now. And you can see our false alarm activations started at 1,000 and we're down 800. So it's doing exactly what we were looking for. The whole point of the program was we wanted to reduce responses to false alarm. It ties up police services, and by attaching a fee to them, it motivated people to take care of their alarms if there were issues, to resolve them so we don't keep sending police out for false alarms. They've increased their collection rate since we've started using them. They're very responsive and satisfied with the current service. The one thing I will say, when I took over this contract, they were new and there were some issues in the beginning, but everything I covered with them when I talked to them, it's resolved. They fixed it. So they're very, very responsive when we call. And again, one of the benefits is there's no downtime. So I just recommend that we award a contract for the management of our false alarm program to.
Okay, thank you, Julie. Bring it back to the body. Any questions to Julie on this program? Mendel?
I know you.
If I can give my button, I think they turned me off back in the back. Well, you know what I'm going to ask.
I know what you're going to ask.
So I'm conflicted here. So do we charge for the first false alarm, or don't we charge? Because I know when we did the master fee, we said no.
We do not. And that was in the original municipal code when it was updated.
Right. But then when I read this, I wasn't
don't charge
sure.
for the first. So if you're unregistered, I'll clarify. If your alarm is unregistered, so how it works is every week we pull a call of all the alarm calls that we went to. So
Yeah.
everything that the police responded to, and we send it to the company. So they will create bills off that. So when they run your address and they say you do not have an alarm permit on file, they send you a fee of $40 to purchase that permit, and then a $50 charge because you had a false alarm. So it's charging you for the first false alarm.
Okay.
However, if it's your first time and you don't have a permit, you can actually take an online class through their portal, and it will waive that first $50 fee. And the class is basically, it tells you why it's so important not to have false alarms, how it ties up police services, and it's
Right.
just not good for the community. So I guess, so it's waived.
So it's kinda like going to
waived,
So I'm
but
okay
there's a
with that.
little
Yeah,
work,
yeah,
there's
yeah,
a
yeah.
little work behind it. So,
Yeah, okay.
and I have to, because I know you brought this up at the last council meeting I was at. I can tell you this, the majority of the false alarms that are being waived, because if they do have a permit on file,
Yeah.
we will waive that first fee. But we still have $40 a year we're getting from them because they have to renew that permit every year. Before, they register their permit once and there's
Yeah.
nothing. And usually these first false alarms, it's not, it's not egregious. I mean, it's not intentional. It's maybe a battery went out on the sensor and they would have not known if they didn't have a false alarm. Or they're across the country on vacation and I don't know, something triggers it. A bird flies into their window and activates the glass break. So they're not usually, it's not the ones that we're going every week to because there's a glass break and we get there and there's no glass break.
Yeah.
That's what these are designed for. We want those people to resolve their issues with their alarms. I had one false alarm because I was on vacation and a bird hit the window. We don't really want to make it punitive for those people that it's
Yeah.
an accident.
Okay.
But these other ones that it's the repetitive, that's what it's designed for.
Yeah, good. I like this, and I like the fact that it's high tech, that we get a piece of the pie, and
we do nothing.
And it makes our team efficient. So thank you. I'm good.
Thank you, Mendel. Any other questions? I have none. Then I will entertain a motion to, we have a question. Sorry. I thought your hair trigger over here going to move again. So
No, I was waiting for you to ask. No, really, I really like the program. In fact, I've not had any calls to fix anything in a very long time. But with that being said, if there's any conflict resolution with somebody out there that thinks that something's wrong, what do?
There isn't a process. There's an appeal process. So they can go through the alarm company, and they can do it through email, they can do it through phone call, and it generates an appeal. They send those to me, and I review all the appeals, and I will either accept it, waive the fees, or tell them, no, this is your 5th false alarm, same area of activation. We're not waiving it. So, and you can't. They can try, but I mean, I can pull up, I have access to all the dispatch calls, so I can pull that up and see, oh no, I know you've had 5 alarms because I can access that. So the ones that legitimately need to be fined, the fees don't get waived. But, you know, if people call, and they can always appeal it. They can always appeal
So you have the magic pin.
I do. I do.
Thank you, Julie. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions, comments?
I have a question for Julie that's not quite related to this, that she wears many hats. One of those is emergency services, and I think you have a big event coming up on October 16th.
I do. Drop, cover, and hold. Be ready at 10:16. I'm giving it away, but yes, we had the great shakeout on Thursday. At 10:16, we'll be evacuating all the city buildings. They will go to their employee assembly locations. Their floor wardens will be taking roll and check in with dispatch, tell them all the employees are accounted for, and everyone will go back. And then all the Emergency Operation Center members will head over to Bidwell and set up the Operations Center for a exercise.
Because we've had a 6.0 twice in the last month and a half on the Pacific Rim.
Yes.
And so those tectonic plates just to the west of us are moving. So it is good to be prepared.
We will get
So
practice
thank you
on
for all that you do to prepare us.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. With that, I'll entertain a motion to accept the contract.
Move items 1 and 2.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Alawas, second by Mr. Thompson, and invite us to please vote. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you
Thank
very
you so much. Have a good night.
All right. Next item is a memorandum of understanding between the City of Glendora and Glendora American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, or AFSCME, Local 3915, for a 3-year term of September 1, 2025 through June 30, 2028. And welcome Human Resources Analyst Jacqueline Brown to tell us what we've done.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. My name is Jacqueline Brown. I'm one of the HR analysts in the Admin Services Department. Tonight, I'll be presenting the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees Memorandum of Understanding. I'll be referring to them as AFSCME going forward. On September 24th, 2025, AFSCME informed the city of their membership's vote to accept the negotiated terms as outlined. The contract term is going to be 3 years, ending June 30th of 28. Wages, there's a 9% total wage increase over the term of the contract with 3% each year. Cafeteria plan, $300 total increase over the term of the contract. Deferred compensation, the city will match up to $50 per pay period with a maximum of $1,200 per year. Uniform allowance, we have added 2 positions to AFSCME in 2023, and we're now just folding those into the uniform allowance: property and evidence technician and court liaison. Longevity pay, we are increasing each of their 3 longevity pay tiers by $500 each. And training pay is specific to the police department only. That will be increasing to $200 per month. The total cost of this proposed MOU is projected at $1.6 million. At this time, a draft copy of the MOU is attached to the staff report pending the final review from the AFSCME board. Staff does not anticipate any major changes to the MOU. Tonight, we seek City Council's approval of the negotiated terms and conditions and to authorize the city manager to execute the agreement and any and all non-substantive changes to the draft AFSCME MOU.
Okay, thank you, Jacqueline. I'll bring it back for any questions or comments. Mendel?
No, I'm good with this. Support it, and thank you for all of your collective work to get this done, and appreciate everything that they all do. Thank you.
Very good. Shauna?
No questions for me, and I appreciate staff's hard work on this.
Thank you.
Karen?
Ditto, no questions, and thanks for your work.
Michael?
Yeah, thank you for the work, and thank you for asking me for working with you.
And Echo, thank you for the great work and for our negotiating teams and their cooperation. With that, I'll bring it back for a motion to accept.
I'll move recommendations 1 and 2.
Motion by Michael, a second.
Second.
By Mendel. And ask us to please vote on the item. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you very much. That concludes our agenda items. I will bring back for any closing comments that anyone might have.
The Dodgers won 5-1, so yeah, that's just the facts. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just letting you know.
Okay. Any other comments, gentlemen? None? Okay. With that, I will adjourn the meeting at 8:38. Thank you very much. Good night.